Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, October the 22nd, otherwise known as NHL Frozen Frenzy Night, the 2024-2025 edition. What's becoming an annual tradition, late October with the NHL, with 32 teams, all 32 NHL teams in action, and 16 games on tap. Every team in action tonight. We'll be breaking it down right here. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, Matt Robinson. And of course, this is just part of a big Ice Guys doubleheader today, with the main event being our first live betcast of the NHL season tonight, starting at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific. We are excited about it. This is obviously all 32 teams in action, staggered start times, 6 p.m. Eastern, the first game. Then after that, we've got Tampa, New Jersey, 6:45, and then we go in 15-minute increments with the start of each game all the way up till 9:30. So it's great because we're going to get time to talk about each game and our approach on the betcast from a live betting standpoint before it begins. So very, very exciting night ahead. And certainly if you want to join us on the betcast, DM or email me or Alex. Okay, make sure if you want in on the betcast, because we want to send you the link for it before it begins. And the way to do that is DM me at Bobano Bets on Twitter X, at AX Smith Sports on Twitter X for Alex, or email bobano350@gmail.com. Either way, get in touch if you want to join us live on this betcast tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Central. Very much looking forward to it. And like I said, we planned it all really through the off season that we were going to have our first betcast on the Frozen Frenzy Night. It only made sense. We're really excited about it. And Alex, we're not just excited about the betcast. We're just excited about the fact there's 16 games to watch tonight and bet on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then with the staggered start times too, so there's never a dull moment. You're never scrambling around waiting for games to come back. There's always going to be something on throughout the entire night. So it was a perfect night, like I said, to get the betcast rocking and rolling. And like I said, get our live wagers in. We've had enough of games now with 12 days into the season where we know what kind of angles and stuff we're looking for, different trends and different things we have lined up for tonight. So and I'll say it, I know for me, and we were talking about this off air, where most of my card is going to be a lot of live wagers. I have a steady amount of pregame plays, but the majority of stuff I have will be tailored and dedicated toward the live staggered start, trying to get better prices and better numbers on certain things throughout this massive card tonight.
Yeah, massive it is indeed. Matty, you ready to rock tonight? I'm sure excited just like everyone else for this huge night of NHL.
Yeah, gotta love it. Obviously a big card, but as you mentioned, it's sort of the breakdown of how the game times are set up. There's nights with 10 or 11 games on the card, but 8 of them start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time or something like that. So the fun thing with tonight is, as we're watching the first period of one game, we can be prepping for the first period of another game and, things like that. So obviously it'll get a bit crazy there, an hour or so in when there's 6 different games going on, all at different starting points. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely a big night of hockey. Just quickly on the one game last night, Toronto Maple Leafs, dominant, thorough, complete effort, 60 minutes. Really, it was their game right from the start. Took control early and never looked back. 5-2 victory over the Tampa Bay Lightning last night. Just very impressive. Plus, keep in mind the Ranger game, they played a good enough game to win. I thought they outplayed the Rangers at times in that game, but they were Shesterkined a little bit in that game. They chased Vasilevsky from the net. And that's very interesting that John Cooper made that move. Vasilevsky hates being pulled, and he's almost gone to Cooper before and say, don't you dare ever pull me from the net. That's not something he appreciates. And number two is Johansson was tabbed to start tonight against New Jersey, and now he has to play pretty much half the game last night. How does that impact things going forward here for the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight, who, of course, are back in action once again against the New Jersey Devils? But it's a great night for the Leafs overall. Like I say, convincing victory. Their big gun stepped up, 2 goals for Nylander, a goal for Austin Matthews, Matthew Nyes. Max Pacioretty gets me off the fucking schneid finally with the bargain bin special.
Yep.
And we mentioned it on Sunday when we talked about that game last night, that Max Pacioretty, if he gets back into the lineup, this is opportunity knocking for him to make an impact and show Craig Berube, hey, I want to stay in the lineup, and I can help this team score goals and produce offensively for this group. And that's exactly what Max Pacioretty did. So we're finally in the win column with the bargain bin special last night at plus 490. It was a great price last night with Max Pacioretty getting on the scoreboard. Alex, any quick thoughts on Lightning Leafs from last night?
Yeah. Anthony Stolarz outdueled Andrei Vasilevsky.
Absolutely.
I thought that was a fantastic performance by Stolarz. He made some big saves in
Swept
that
the puck
contest.
off the goal line, windmill style, to keep it out.
Mhm.
A sensational
Yeah.
save, incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, he was stunning. So now Stolarz and you got Wall coming back tonight for Toronto. This is a good sign for them as far as in nets. Stolarz has looked good in the couple of starts that he's had, and if Wall can get back into form, obviously, don't no rush to things coming off of an injury, but we've seen him come off of injuries and ailments a couple of times now in his Leafs career. So having a guy like Stolarz, who we've been saying is one of the better backup goalies in the league the last couple of seasons, that's a huge ship to have for the Maple Leafs.
If Joe Wall doesn't play well, he ain't going to be backup Anthony Stolarz anymore. He's going to be he might already be the number 1 guy with how well he's played. And
Yeah.
it might be at the point where Joe Wall, look, even if he does play well, you're going to have to, at the very least, share the net equally with Stolarz, if not defer to Anthony Stolarz to get a few more of the starts because of how well he's played. Matt, did you bet that game or any thoughts on it last night?
Yeah, I actually did that sort of new bet that I've been doing, where it was the over was 6.5, so I did a same game parlay, first period over 1.5, full game over 5.5. Fortunate it hit in the second period, so I was just looking for goals. I wasn't expecting Toronto to be up 5-1 to kind of hit that mark, but it was a good game. Seeing Vasilevsky get pulled, as you guys mentioned, that's something you don't really see very often. So maybe it's he is human. As you know, he was starting off really hot. So interesting game. Obviously, one game on the night, so it was good to see that it was high scoring, a lot of action, some good goals, a couple fights. So for a 1-game card, it was a solid game that I enjoyed.
Yeah, no question about it. It was and by the way, the Amazon Prime broadcast, people in Canada are saying already how much better it is than Sportsnet. I mean, that's a bad look for Sportsnet, but people were loving the Amazon Prime coverage more than anything Sportsnet shows out. It's because they keep it, it's interesting. They show the pregame skate for both teams with no commentary, just the noise sound from the arena, which is really, really cool. And you get to see the player's stick handle on the ice or stretch or do whatever the fuck their routine is to get ready for a game with no commentary. It was really good. I like that part of it, what Amazon Prime's doing there. And then the broadcast kicks in just before puck drop. So
other than batting practice and baseball, hockey warm-ups, I think are the coolest.
Yeah.
Because football players, they're just scattered about doing all the plays. Basketball players, they're all taking a million shots, knocking each other's shots out of the air. But hockey warm-ups are just always just like super structured, super cool, but also laid back at the same time. So that's a neat little wrinkle they added to that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So Leafs get a nice win last night. They're back in action tonight, and so is Tampa Bay. Let's get into it. We've got 16 games, all 32 teams, and the frenzy begins. 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be going on the air with the live betcast right around the start of this game. This is the first game of a triple header tonight on ESPN. So ESPN is showing 3 games, start to finish, in a row tonight. This is the first one. ESPN 2, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, has the Whip Around show with Buccigross and Weeks and all those guys being part of that. And then, of course, so you can watch the, kind of like the live look-in version of the Frozen Frenzy there. But the 3 games, there will be a triple header on ESPN, starting with this. Washington and Philadelphia. Flyers minus 120, home favorites. 6 the total here in this game. System play, something we've talked about all season here in the NHL. It's been cashing. It's been a great bet. Teams off a shutout loss. Bet overs in their next game, first period over, full game over. You're doing really well. It's pretty crazy how strong an angle this has been here in the first 2-3 weeks of the NHL regular season. Betting overs with one or both teams in the game off a shutout loss, and we have that here. Philadelphia getting shut out 3-0 by Vancouver at home on Saturday night. It was a really tricky spot for Philly. It was a long road trip, first game back, running into a Canucks team that got coming off their first win of the season against Florida. And you could tell there was a little bounce in their step. And I think maybe that is something Philadelphia, with the jet lag and home off that long roadie to begin the year, just wasn't ready. I think this sets up well for the Flyers from a side perspective, too. I did bet a little Flyers minus 120 in this game. And this is someone that was on Washington on the weekend with a great 6-5 overtime win against the New Jersey Devils over the weekend. And Washington's impressed me so far. They've played some solid hockey. There's been nights where they're defensively and their goaltending's been great. Then there was a night like the New Jersey game where, it wasn't the best night defensively for them or for Logan Thompson in net. And there's all of a sudden their offense picking it up for the team, including Tom Wilson, who had a terrific game. Tom Wilson's red hot. Tom Wilson's someone you got to look at for props right now. He is definitely feeling it currently for the Washington Capitals in great form. But for me, what I've got here is Philly minus 120 small. I'll maybe add to it if I see a plus price at some point during the betcast. And I'm on first period over, full game over. This over by Fecta has been extremely profitable this year when one or both teams in the game are off a shutout loss. And that's obviously what we have here. Philadelphia off the shutout loss to Vancouver over the weekend. All right, Alex, what do you think here to get us going? Capitals, Flyers.
Yeah, right there with you on that over by Factor, but I'm a little heavier pregame on the first period over. So which means that I'll be looking to go even heavier on that. I'll probably go maybe a unit and a half when adding in some live money at a plus price. So looking to start off the night hot with a big play there. But like I said, I think there's going to be goals, and like I said, that's a system play that we're kind of running right now. Of course, like I said, that doesn't mean it's automatic, but this is a spot where I feel like the first period over, and I think both teams to score is live here too. So that's something that I probably will add in game at a higher price. That'll be my live look for this game. And sides, I'm staying off of a side for now. And like I said, a lot of sides I will be staying off of pregame, and we'll be looking to adjust when you grab things in game.
Yeah, it's Lindgren and Ersson, by the way, confirmed as your goaltenders in this game. Charlie Lindgren for Washington, Samuel Ersson here for the Philadelphia Flyers. And, even for a coach in John Tortorella that wants his team to play solid defense, here he is shaking up the lineup, and here he is talking about ways he can push some buttons to get them going offensively going into this game. And that's what you want to hear when you want to bet an over. You want to see the team focusing on trying to fix, the offense, and Philly is trying to do that. Looks like Ryan Poehling could be on the top line with Mishkov and Tippett here tonight. So you talk about value, and if Ryan Poehling is starting this game as the number one center, which is possible, certainly there's going to be some value with his props in this game here tonight. Matt, Washington, Philly.
Yeah. So given that the system play, this is a perfect game for me to do that same game parlay. First period over, game total over at 5.5. As Alex mentioned, I do lean heavier on the first period over. So I'll probably throw the same game parlay in and then an additional small amount on the first period over. And then it'll also be kind of my focal point. If we get 4 or 5 minutes into this game and there is some pace but no goals, it could be a great opportunity to get, plus money on that. So yeah, I like goals here. I don't really have a side. You guys both mentioned it, but I'm not super heavy on a lot of sides tonight just because there's so many games. There's going to be a lot of live looks. My plays will be kind of less frequent and try and be, things that I love pregame, and then the rest I'm going to let kind of play out in the night.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, with this being obviously a live betcast night. And I'm even doing that more. Like, I've got a little quarter unit on Philadelphia. Like, that's not usually as much as what I have for a standard bet. I'm looking to add a plus price during the betcast. Again, targets that we've got in mind for the betcast. And I find like maybe Washington does get the first goal, and we'll be able to get Philly at plus money. I just think situationally this sets up nicely for Philly, right? They're off a shutout loss. They kind of were jet lagged off the road trip. Now they've been in their own beds at home now for a few days. Time to practice for this game. I think you're going to get a good performance and effort from Philly. Will it be enough to win's another question, but that's why I like the Flyers in this spot. But like I said, we'll add more Philly with the BetCast at plus money rather than putting all our eggs in the basket pregame on the minus 120 that's out there right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting too to keep in mind this is the only game tonight where there'll be a home and home series. So these two teams play again in DC tomorrow, and I'm seeing DC minus 150 at FanDuel in that spot. So Philly taking back plus 126.
All right, Minnesota and Florida next up. This game starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Florida minus 145 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. The Florida Panthers continue to live life without Alexander Barkov, although it does appear that Matthew Tkachuk is ready to return to the lineup here tonight for the Florida Panthers, and obviously that's a huge boost to the team, especially offensively, and the intangibles, right? Getting in on the forecheck, drawing penalties. This guy's a master at drawing penalties. He just makes people so infuriated on the other side that they take an extra punch or an extra, an extra cross check on him, and he draws a penalty. He's a master at getting under the opponent's skin, and that's something that Florida misses when Matthew Tkachuk is out of the lineup as well. So definitely big news having him back. Looks like Tkachuk will slot back in with Bennett and Verhaeghe on the top line tonight. It'll be Reinhart, Lundell, and Kuhlman Luostarinen on the second line for Florida here tonight in this game. But that's a huge deal getting Tkachuk back. Still without Barkov though, and I should have been more active when it comes to totals with Florida without Barkov, because you look at the recent Florida Panther games, and really since Barkov's been out, 3 of the 4 games have gone over. That's not a surprise, because as much as they miss Barkov's offense, they miss his defensive proficiency probably even more. And they suffer a little offensively. They suffer more defensively when Barkov is out. And, we're kind of seeing that right now. They've trended over in all these games ever since Barkov's been out. Meanwhile, you've got Minnesota coming off back-to-back wins against Columbus and St. Louis, 7-2. Those games combined score 4-1 over St. Louis, 3-1 over Columbus. Before that, their losses were to Seattle and Winnipeg. No shame in that, because Seattle's been pretty solid. Winnipeg's obviously undefeated. So losing those 2 games, it's not really a big deal for Minnesota. They played solid, 3-0-2. You look at last year against Florida. Florida won the Stanley Cup. Minnesota missed the playoffs. But you know what happened? Minnesota beat them twice last year. 2-0 in Minnesota, 6-4 in Florida. I actually think there might be a tinge of value here on the Minnesota side in this game at plus 125. So grab a little wild at plus 125. I think the draw could get there in this game. I think we're going to see potentially a competitive game, a close game. Florida went to overtime now 2 games in a row with Vancouver and Vegas. Both of those games are going past regulation. Minnesota's gone past regulation 2 of their last 4 games. We saw certainly these teams have played some close competitive games lately, so a little wild and draw for me in this game. And at 5.5, I'm interested in this over. Look at the series history with Minnesota, Florida, 6-3-1 to the over. But look at the games in Florida. It's been an overpalooza. Wild versus Panthers, guys, in Florida. You know what the scores have been? 6-4, 5-3, 5-4, 4-2, 6-2, going back to 2019. Lots of goals in Florida between these 2 teams. So little wild, little draw, and over 5.5. I didn't make over by facta for some reason. I just did it full game total, but I wouldn't argue with a first period over as well. 5.5 though, minus 120 to minus 125. I do like that. And again, all these games in Florida with these 2 teams, it's been high scoring. What do you think here, Alex? Wild Panthers.
So this is the first game where I have nothing pregame, but I do have circled first period over, full game over, a few minutes into the contest. So this will be ultimately shaping up to be certainly the first live plays I make. Like I said, depends on what plus price we get and what time we get with Flyers and Caps. But definitely have live looks on these with that total. Like I said, high scoring history, especially when these 2 teams play down in Sunrise. And this Minnesota team, give them credit. I thought this team was going to be absolutely awful. And they've been able to, get this win streak going, or at least be, undefeated in regulation, and have that and weather some injuries already. Missing Eck, missing Spurgeon, things that we said would be absolute backbreakers for them. They've been able to weather the storm now, but you can't have that going long term. Like I said, Florida having their injury issues as well. So there is a tinge of value with Minnesota plus 125, but we're just going to wait for everything in game and fire off from there.
Yeah, Barkov got injured against Boston. 5 games without him. Florida 4-1 to the over in those 5 games without Alexander Barkov in the lineup. Matt, what do you think here? Minnesota, Florida.
Yeah, there's nothing really here pregame. I do lean overs. Obviously, seeing that 5.5 and knowing series history, but I think this will be one of the few games for sure, and maybe more than a few that I just wait for tonight's betcast. Nothing really sticks out. Again, I lean over, but given how low it is right now, already at 5.5, I feel like 5-6 minutes into the game. You could get that at a 5. You could get that at a high plus price, things like that. So it'll be a live look for me.
Nothing wrong with that, obviously, with the huge card. Absolutely. And there's one other thing about, by the way, it's Gustafsson and Bobrovsky confirmed in net, and still no Spurgeon for the Minnesota Wild. And oddly enough, they've played 2 very good defensive games here, the last 2 without Spurgeon. But I will say Columbus is beaten to shit right now with injuries. We'll get to that in a moment when we talk their game against Toronto tonight. And obviously, the other game was against, I believe, St. Louis, and they've been kind of all over the map with their offense to begin the season. So this will be a taller order here with Florida tonight. But, with Florida, we've seen them give up, more chances, a little more goals, not that airtight, suffocating, defensive type of play we saw in their run to winning the Stanley Cup last year. And obviously that's exacerbated by the absence of Alexander Barkov. All right, Tampa Bay and New Jersey. We've got the Devils minus 150, home favorites, 6.5 being the total here in this game. This is obviously a pretty tough spot for Tampa coming off the game against Toronto last night, where their projected starter tonight was expected to be Jonas Johansson. It still is, but he had to play half the game against Toronto with Vasilevsky getting pulled, which is why I was even more surprised that Vasilevsky got the hook last night. So tough spot. I still think it will be Johansson in net, but I'm waiting before I move on this game. I might even wait till the betcast, but Jake Allen expected to be in net here for the New Jersey Devils. It's looking like Sheldon Keefe is leaning in that direction, given the veteran another start here instead of Jacob Markstrom. But it is worth noting 2 starts this year for Allen. He's been very good. He's given up 1 goal on 38 shots against Utah and Buffalo. New Jersey winning both of those games. The game against Buffalo obviously was in Czechia to begin the year, and then he had that impressive shutout, that Monday matinee affair against Utah, and he played extremely well. That game where we thought it was going to be goals galore, and Jake Allen said, none of that shit. I'm shutting the door, and he put the clamp down on the Utah Hockey Club. So he's played well, and he played solid for a lot of games when he got to New Jersey, second half of last year as well. So we'll see how he fares in this game tonight. I think I'd feel comfortable. If it is Johansson, I'm going to move on a Devils team total. We can get that over 3.5. I'd be interested for sure in that. New Jersey's coming off that 6-5 loss as well to the Washington Capitals. So they're definitely in bounce back mode following that loss to the Capitals. Devils team total is actually reasonable here, around minus 115, minus 120. Not a bad price at all. So I am interested in Devils team total over 3.5. We'll see about the full. I'll say this about Tampa and New Jersey in particular. Jake Allen's got that potential to step up and play good and maybe stick a cork in your overthinking, but it has been strong overs with these 2 teams. 4-1 the last 5 meetings, 4-3, 5-2, 4-3, 6-3. There's only 1 game that stayed under between these 2. So I'm still interested in the over by Fecta. This might be a deal where I'm not only going to bet it small pregame and wait for better numbers, better prices in game. And the thing I wanted to say, too, about Minnesota, Florida, with Alex mentioning he's going to wait for in-game bets for the first period and full game over. With the first period and full game over for Minnesota, Florida, the first period over is minus 120 and the pregame, and the over 5.5 is minus 125. You get 3 minutes, 4 at the most, of scoreless hockey to begin that game. You're going to get plus money on both of those, first period and full game over. So that's the benefit of trying to wait, to see if you can get through the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game without a goal. And you're suddenly going to be able to get a really good price live in game with any first period and or full game overs you're looking at. So over by Fecta, small, can always add to it during the betcast. And like I said, if Johansson's confirmed, even if it is Vasi, Vasi's come back down to earth here against Ottawa and Toronto 2 games in a row. So I'd still be interested in a Devils team total over 3.5 here tonight at -120. Alex, what do you think here? Lightning Devils.
Yeah, just laughing at an interesting bar story in the chat. This is a game where it's perfect for the betcast. I'll be waiting, like I said, looking kind of at totals, and just kind of want to see what's going to happen in net with Tampa Bay. I made it a point to tweet it out as soon as possible. I think everybody did when we saw Vasilevsky getting pulled. Make a note, because usually when Vasilevsky gets pulled, like I said, he's pissed off about it, and the first thing he'd want to do is get right back in net.
Yep.
So it wouldn't shock me one bit to see him get the start, especially early in the season. If this was January, we'd know, okay, no matter what, it's going to be Johansson. But being this early in the season, I wouldn't shock me one bit to see Vasilevsky get the start here. So just definitely keep goalie post open, keep Twitter open to see when that becomes confirmed.
The more I think about it, the more I'm thinking it could be Vasilevsky tonight, because, take him out in the middle of the game last night for a guy that doesn't like to get pulled. Why would you do that? Well, it was 5-1 at the time. Probably like, we're going to let this game go. We play a really good New Jersey team tomorrow night and give him the rest. He only had to play 30 minutes instead of 60 last night. He's not going to be in a good mood tonight for this New Jersey. He knows he's going to be upset about getting pulled, not playing up to his standard. Put him back in there. I'm starting to think it's going to be Vasilevsky.
And I was thinking we were going to hear the last night, and I missed Cooper's presser, but I was hoping that we were going to hear, or at least see on Twitter or something, that he was going to say that, oh yeah, Vasilevsky's getting the net again tonight, and already confirm it. But like I said, he'll still keep an ear out for that.
And there's still those, and again, Tampa did get off to a good start, but now again, those issues from last year are creeping into their game. They got a power play goal late, and then the only other goal they scored, which was at 5-on-5 even strength, that ended up going in off the Leaf defenseman, Simone Benoit. That was their only other goal last night. So there are still questions about whether Tampa Bay can be consistent 5-on-5 and step things up, because, again, they were very, very heavily reliant on the power play last year. Matt, what do you think here? Tampa Bay, New Jersey.
Yeah, I just given the back-to-back, I lean New Jersey here, but I'm not laying -150 pregame. I also wouldn't be surprised if there was a response from Tampa. So nothing on the sides here, really nothing on the totals. Given that a guy I know is tied for 10th in the NHL in scoring 6 games into the year, I think I'll probably be on his goal prop. It's not going to be my bargain bin. So Stefan Nason anytime goal, I think it's like +300. But with Betcast, Frenzy, the season he's had to start the year, the time on the first power play, he's getting a lot of looks. I think you got to take him to score tonight. I think it would just be ironic. So I will be on Stefan Nason goal prop pregame, but sides and totals here, it'll be a live look for me. I'll see how the game kind of starts.
Are you sure you don't? Are you sure you want to just brush that aside already for a bargain bin? Because I'm seeing +470 at FanDuel with him.
We'll see if I come up with something between now and the end of the show, and if not, that might be my bargain bin. I didn't realize it was that high. I only looked 2 places, but I was seeing like +320, +470 is pretty hefty. So
yeah,
especially if I lean that the Devils will get some goals tonight, so that prompts me to feel that way even more. So we'll see if I come up with something else. But no, I appreciate that look, Alex.
Yeah, that's like a nice pick. That is a good price, no doubt about it. Matt's quest to bet every game Stefan Nason to score a goal this season, no question about it. All right, next up we've got Dallas and Buffalo. Dallas Stars -145, road favorites, total of 6 here in this game. Buffalo hasn't won 2 in a row yet. And obviously, I bring that up because they did win their last game against Alex's Chicago Blackhawks, 4-2 on Saturday night. But putting good performances together was a problem last year for Buffalo. And so far this year, even with the new head coach, Lindy Ruff, they still have yet to put 2 wins in a row on the board. So that's what they got to do. And, if you're going to be any kind of good team or have any kind of good season, you've got to win 2 games in a row. You got to put good performances together. You got to string games together. And Buffalo has still not done that yet this year. And it's not going to be easy, obviously. You're playing against one of the top teams in the NHL here, the Dallas Stars. Dallas to me has done a lot of good things, but there's a lot of puzzling things going on. Their offense hasn't been clicking on all cylinders. They have had sluggish starts. They've been held in games where they've been badly outshot, badly outplayed early in games, but the goaltending has been there from Ottinger and even Casey DeSmith when he's gotten the opportunity has been solid for Dallas. I still think there's another gear for Dallas to get to, especially on the offensive side. But you can't complain too much. I mean, here they are 5-1. I mean, they're still winning. Jake Ottinger in net for them tonight. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen for the Buffalo Sabres. Both of these teams are getting pretty healthy now. Other than Zach Benson and Nicholas Obey-Kubel, everyone's healthy for Buffalo. And now Dallas, they see Tyler Seguin and Matt Dumba back for them tonight for this game against the Buffalo Sabres. So this Stars team now looks fully healthy. This is one of those deals where Buffalo, at home, maybe a sleepy start. Look, Dallas has had slow starts. So my thought process here in this game with Dallas is, well, I don't want them at this price. Let's see if maybe they have a slow start. Maybe Buffalo pots one to go up 1-0. And then on the bet cast tonight, we'll get plus money on the Dallas Stars. And if I find Dallas at a plus price at any point tonight, I'll be interested in a live bet. That's the approach. Why lay minus 145 on the road in a potential sleepy spot with Dallas? Maybe they've had slow starts. Maybe they fall behind early, and then maybe we get them at a good plus price in game. That's going to be the approach for me when it comes to the Stars and Sabres, targeting a live bet on the Stars at a plus price tonight on the betcast rather than betting them pregame. Alex, what do you think here, Dallas, Buffalo?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I might even actually grab plus 105. I'm seeing 60-minute team to score first goal with Buffalo at plus 105. So I might grab that. I could probably wait and grab a better price in game, but that's the same kind of logic. I think Dallas has had these very slow starts. We haven't seen much pace or push from them offensively in the first period. They've been more about locking things down on the defensive end and then getting the offense, running after making adjustments in the locker room. So I mean, it's not a bad strategy, but we have to adjust how we bet. Dallas, of course, certainly not the first period over second period overruns of last season. So like I said, look for maybe Buffalo to score first goal. That's something we could probably dabble and grab in game, since this is a little later in the opening slate of the frenzy. And then from there we can adjust and grab Dallas to score next goal, Dallas money line. So this is a true live bet game for me.
I mean, it's almost like the alarm clock didn't go off against Edmonton for Dallas until midway through the game. I mean, that first period was just they couldn't get anything going. It's like they're skating in quicksand, skating in mud. Couldn't do anything. Couldn't make a pass. Yeah, couldn't even make a clean exit out of their zone half the time in that first period. It's 11-2 are the shots for the Oilers, but thankfully they've got goaltending, obviously, and certainly that helps Dallas, and that's why they're so tough. They could play their D- game and still win half those games. Dallas. Just because they do so many things, fundamentals, team defense, structure, all that, and it can hold them in games where they're not generating much or they're getting outplayed. And we saw a perfect example of that against Edmonton. Matt, what do you think here? Stars Sabres.
Yeah, so this is where I would say, as Alex famously says, not so fast, my friend. But not that I disagree with much of what you guys said, but for me, I'm going to take the Stars puck line in this game. Something I've learned quick into the season, Dallas isn't an over team right now, which obviously bums me out because I watch every game. I'm an over guy. I just want to see goals. There were points in that Edmonton game. I was like, I don't even care if Edmonton goes up 2-0. That's how bad I want some goals to happen. But
Wow,
it's just
that means you really
not in the
want them
cards.
badly when you're saying shit like that.
Yeah, and it's just not in the cards right now. So, but I mean, looking at Buffalo's, they've got 4 losses this year. One was that overtime loss to Pittsburgh in the night that Crosby and Malkin hit those milestones. But all 3 other losses were by 2 goals or more. So I like the Stars puck line here. Uh, Jake Ottinger is playing lights out. Obviously he hasn't lost a game yet. But I've sent you some stats, Ian. Like his October numbers are crazy. And yes, in seasons past he was getting wins and giving up goals, but they were finding a way to win. But and I know a lot of his starts have been in Dallas, but he's looked locked in. I mean, even that Edmonton game, it could have been 2 or 3-0 Edmonton after the first. Dallas had given up 13 or 14 shots, and Andre stood on his head. So I think getting Sagan back in the lineup, getting Dumba back in the lineup will give him a little boost. shockingly, that Sagan Duchesne or the Duchesne Marchman line without Sagan was still hot. They had a big piece in why they won that Edmonton game and also the game prior. But I think Sagan gives them a boost. That line when all three of those guys are going is pretty unbelievable at times. And I think Dumba, jumping back gives them a little bit of an edge, frees up Miro a little bit, allows him to be a little bit more risky with the puck and things like that. So I don't think it's going to be 6-0 or anything like that, but I could see this being a 3-1 game. Dallas having a slow start, but then finding a way to get that puck line. So that'll be my only game play pregame. No props for me pregame, which is rare when we do have a bet cast. But as I said, the Stars this year, there's games I'm like, okay, the Duchesne Marchman line's not a good look. Look at the Rupe Hentz Wyatt Johnston line, and then Duchesne will have 2 goals and Marchman has both assists, and then flip flop. So I really haven't felt out the forward crew, the points wise, things like that. But I do love Dallas puck line here.
All right, like in puck line with the Stars, and like I said, this is good. Like I say, watch live. I can bet live player props now. Bet 365 other spots. So let's see who's got their legs under them, who's generating chances, who's getting in on the forecheck, who's getting opportunities. So that's going to be something I watch for if I'm going to bet player props here in this game. All right, New York Rangers, Montreal Canadiens. Rangers minus 250, road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. We did think Montreal had the potential in some spots like these to be giant killers at times, and they almost were against the Islanders. 4-3 shootout loss to the Islanders in that game. It was actually a very good game from Caden Primo. Much needed because he had really struggled before that, but it was a really, really solid effort from him in net, giving the Canadiens a chance in that game. That was a good game for me. I had over by Fecta. I also had the draw. Also had the Canadiens team total over 2.5. The only thing that didn't hit was the Canadiens money line shot. But they lose 4-3 in a shootout. Now they're back home here taking on the New York Rangers. It is worth noting 2 games in a row between these two teams in La Belle Province, which is here in Montreal. For those of you that en français is a struggle for you. Both of those games have gone past regulation. And I get the sense this for the Rangers off the massive, it was a pretty big game, right? They know the Leafs are a good team. Sturkin was great. 4-1 win. They've won 3 in a row, 2 with Detroit and the win against Toronto. They play the Panthers, though, next at home on Thursday night. Okay, Eastern Conference final rematch. Obviously a spot that's circled, team that knocked them out in the playoffs last year. I think for them, it's kind of get through the game and move on. Now, I don't love the idea of trusting the Canadiens with Shesterkin confirmed in net, but they may not have Lafreniere, and Lafreniere's been a big catalyst offensively early in the year. He's day-to-day with an upper body injury. Keep that in mind. It looks like it is Sam Montembeault confirmed in net here for the Montreal Canadiens tonight. So he has definitely been solid this year. Now, not as sharp as he was earlier in the season, but he's still been pretty solid to begin the year. This is a game where, as far as totals and sides, I'm not involved with much, but I am going to sprinkle on the draw here in this Rangers and Habs game. It's, again, 2 games in a row. Rangers have gone to Montreal, and we've needed overtime or a shootout to decide the game. So I'm going to take a small shot on the draw here. I feel like I want to back. I'm always interested in Montreal, especially at home at this price and these kind of spots. But I don't know if they're good enough to beat the Rangers and Shesterkin right now either. That being said, it's like I said, that Florida game Thursday is looming large here. That is a game that the Rangers have had that on their calendar since the beginning of the year. So I think this is a tighter game, tougher game for the Rangers than normal. I like the draw. Alex, what do you think here?
Yeah, I'm on that draw as well as one of 2 draw players that have the full unit. And this is a Ranger team. Like I said, I feel like they could be in for a tight kind of battle. Like I said, the Habs, they're better than the Habs, but the Habs are feisty, especially at home. Like I said, at plus 200 dog. This will definitely be a good live bet game. But I'm on the draw already, and maybe if we see some scoring early, I would turn and grab a live under. That's kind of the look that I have for the betcast for this game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's a possibility for sure. By the way, if you're looking for totals trends, we've actually seen 4 straight have gone over 4-3, 4-3, 7-4, 5-2. We've seen a lot of goals here with the Rangers and the Habs. So I don't want to go against that, but I don't know. I also get the feeling Montembeau's playing better now than he was then, and Shesterkin's been phenomenal. Really, other than the one game, which was the Utah game, and that was just one of those pond hockey games they played with Utah that night. That's really the only kind of a tough night at the office that Igor has had. He's been just nails pretty much in every other start he's had this year. What do you think here, Matt? Rangers, Habs.
Yeah, this is a tougher spot for me. Given everything you laid out, I think if Lafreniere is not in, that does affect the Rangers. I'm not going to lay minus 250 on the Rangers going into Montreal. I feel like taking a shot on Montreal plus 200s maybe worth a look. Um, you know, you don't see a lot of those prices this early in the season. And I do think Montreal can, win this game. They've got some firepower up front. So I don't know. Part of me leans for Spirit over here. Part of me is probably just going to wait till the bet cast on this one. I just don't love anything right out of the gate.
I think Kirby Doc props might be worth a look because he's taken the spot up on the top line tonight with Slavkovsky injured. Suzuki's moved to the wing, and Doc now is centering that line with Suzuki and Caulfield. So more opportunity here for Doc tonight. We've got Newhook, Kapanen, and Armia on the second line for the Montreal Canadiens. For the Rangers, Lafreniere again day to day. We'll see if he suits up tonight. But Ryan Lindgren back, by the way, for the New York Rangers. Ryan Lindgren on the blue line, who has not played at all yet this year, coming off an upper body injury. He will make his Rangers debut tonight. So certainly a welcome sight for the Rangers to have one of their better shutdown physical defensemen back on the blue line tonight. All right, Winnipeg, St. Louis, the undefeated Jets. Who would have thought that Winnipeg, the lone remaining undefeated right now in the NHL, Winnipeg minus 140, road favorites, 6 the total here in this game tonight. This is another draw for me. I like the draw here with the Jets and the Blues. Yeah, there's a couple draws I like, and this is another one. I think we've got a game here where, as much as Winnipeg's been impressive in this 5-0 start, a lot of it has come at home. A lot of it has been against, subpar competition with Chicago and San Jose and a Pittsburgh team that's struggling defensively right now. Now you're going to have to go on the road and get the job done against a Blues team that, one thing about the Blues is they look like they're going to be a team that's buzzing around the draw in a lot of their games this year. Look at the Blues so far. 1-goal game against Seattle, overtime game against San Jose, a 1-goal game against Vegas, the overtime game against the Islanders, and then a 1-goal game against Carolina over the weekend. So there's been a lot of 1-goal games so far here for the St. Louis Blues. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out tonight. But yeah, I do like the draw here in this game. I'm not going to step in front of the Jets. They have played very well, but minus 140 on the road, I'm not so sure I'm excited about that particular price on them. I like the draw here more than anything with the Jets and the Blues. I believe as far as the goaltending tonight is concerned in this game, we should see Binnington versus Hellebuck in this matchup, and it is confirmed that is indeed the goaltending matchup here. What do you think, Alex? Jets, Blues?
This game's a complete pass for me. This is a St. Louis team. I've been, like I said, kind of disappointed in going back in their effort back and forth so far. It's been kind of a tough read. Winnipeg's been a fine team so far on a hot run, best start in franchise history. So now you see if we keep it rolling. This is one I'll be looking to jump in live, if anything. But it's a pass for me pregame.
All right, Matt, what do you think here? Winnipeg, St. Louis.
Yeah, this is honestly like one of the least interesting games for me on the card. I don't know if there's any particular reason there. Maybe I kind of lean under here, which might have a factor in it. You guys know I'm a goal guy, so um, I I don't know. I think you've helped make a case for the draw here, especially given what St. Louis has been doing. I could see this being like a 1-1, 2-2 game going into overtime. So I may sprinkle on the draw. Sounds like there's some good prices out there for that. But as far as sides and totals, this one, nothing I love, and this probably won't be like my focal point game to watch either. I just, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, there's more. I'll say this. I mean, it's an intriguing game because Winnipeg's undefeated, and I think there's some potential for the Blues to be, a little bit of an under the radar improved team. They haven't always shown it consistently, but you're right. There's more glamorous games. I will give you that, Matt. You're right there about that. There's more glamorous games on the slate tonight than this one with the Jets and the Blues. All right, next up we've got the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Toronto minus 210. Road favorites. The total sitting at 6.5 here in this one. This is one I feel I want to get involved during the betcast with this game because there's a lot of moving parts. Joseph Woll has not played obviously in a very long time. He's back from his injury. He'll be making the start, his first start of the year tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It is a back-to-back. They of course beat Tampa Bay last night. Daniil Tarasov is in net for Columbus. Historically, I'd be looking very long and hard at Columbus in this spot long term with the Leafs because we know the Leafs in these spots have shit the bed before. Back to back, big win the night before against a superior team, and you give it back the next night against the weaker team on your schedule. The Leafs have done this shit and pulled this stunt so many times. But I think they're less likely to pull it this year under Craig Berube, who's definitely been that kind of crack the whip coach. They've only played one back-to-back this year, the Leafs, and they won 4-2 in New Jersey. So that one piece of evidence and body of work where they did play a back-to-back this year, they got the job done. And Wool's a very talented goalie. So it feels like if I'm expecting him to struggle, it's not because of his talent level. It's because I expect him to be rusty, someone that hasn't, felt the puck in a game for quite some time. And the problem for me with taking the shot with Columbus, because I think from a spot perspective, there's reasons to like the Jackets at this price. They are beaten up, man. They are really, really ravaged by injury already. They're without Goodbranson on the blue line. They're without their captain, Boone Jenner. They're without multiple centers, Gavin Brindley, the youngster, Voronkov, Kent Johnson. They are all out for this Columbus team. It's a very banged-up Columbus group, and it's kind of affecting them in a negative fashion offensively because they only mustered one goal, 24 shots in the loss against Minnesota the other night. And, you worry about where the consistency offensively is going to come from with all these injuries, especially the center ice position. So many centers being out affect your ability to win faceoffs, your ability to control the flow at both ends of the ice. And that's where we're at with Columbus. And, I do get concerned about that a little bit here with what's going on with them right now. You've got guys that have had to step up and go up the lineup for them. We'll see if they can make that impact. For me, it's just I would rather wait. We'll see what kind of start we get from the Toronto Maple Leafs, then we get involved in this as far as a live wagering opportunity. If you ask me to make a pregame bet at this price, I would try to take a shot with Columbus, but I don't know if the Leafs are going to be as prone to these letdown situations based on who their head coach is right now. So he doesn't really put up with a lot of guff. And the Leafs, we saw them in their back-to-back previously get the job done against the Devils. And to me, there's just too many injuries on this Columbus side right now to really want to go gusto with them and take them, even getting a price like this with the rest advantage being in their favor. Plus Tarasov, what are you going to get, right? How many times have we seen this out of Daniil Tarasov? That 3.71 goals against, 876 save percentage. He's given up 3 goals or more in every start this year. It's not like his goaltending is anything to be fully trustworthy with right now either. Alex, what do you think here? Leafs, Blue Jackets.
Yeah, it's interesting. Normally on a bet cast on a Tuesday night, those who've been watching us in years past, we'd be talking about fading Toronto on these Tuesday nights, these sleepy Tuesday nights. Even if, and like I said, that's usually more if they're at home, but even on the road, there have been times where they've laid eggs laying 210, 240, 250. And so it's a team you just can't trust. But like I said, with Berube, it might be a little bit different. So this will be a good kind of test of seeing how they play in these kind of games against weaker competition on a sleepy Tuesday night. I like the first period over, but we'll wait for that live in game at minus 136. We're waiting for we probably could wait for plus money, but maybe somewhere in that pick 'em range, 115 or 110. But that's the only thing I have circled here for this game.
I think there is value on Cole Sillinger. Cole Sillinger has chipped in some offense, and he's on the top line now for the Columbus Blue Jackets because of all the injuries. So I do think there's a little value on Cole Sillinger now moving up that lineup. I would say for the Leafs, Nyes and McMahon and Pacioretty and Robertson are kind of the four players I keep on circulating goal props with, because I think there's great value. Now, they're not all going to score on every game, but last night we got Pacioretty and we got Nyes scoring goals last night for the Leafs against Tampa Bay. So 2 of the 4 that I'm always interested in got goals last night for Toronto. So I'd be interested in that for them in this game. What do you think here, Matt? Leafs Jackets.
Yeah, this is another one that I just don't love the numbers. I think you could take a shot with Columbus here, but they do have injuries stacked up. I think, Toronto looked pretty sharp last night, so it might be a situation where they just roll into Columbus feeling good and, roll over them. I even tried to look for like a Leafs team total over 3.5, but that's still minus 130. So there's just not a lot of value plays here. I mean, if I had to bet and numbers didn't matter, I would lean Toronto here, but I just don't see the value in betting them pregame. This could be sort of similar to the Stars game. If Toronto goes down 1-0 early in the first on sort of a weird goal, you might be able to snag them to win in regulation around plus money or even money. So definitely some live looks opportunities. I think there will be goals in this game. I think the first period over is maybe a fair look, but given that it's a 6.5 game, it's probably worth, minus 150 is what I'm seeing for the first period over. I'd rather wait in game, see if it is got some pace to it, but no goals in the first 5 or 6 minutes. But yeah, pregame, I think it's gonna be a pass for me.
Yeah, Shinikov at plus 320 and Sillinger at plus 350. And I believe both of them slated to be on the top line for the Jackets tonight. There's probably some solid value with both of those guys tonight for the Columbus side. Let me see what Marchenko is, too, because Marchenko might be up on the only plus 230 for him. Don't love the price as much with Marchenko. I'd be more interested in Shinikov, and I'd be more interested in Cole Sillinger here tonight for the Columbus Blue Jackets. All right, next up, Red Wings and Islanders. The New York Islanders minus 170, home favorite, 6 the total. We're running back everything we bet against Montreal, or that we bet with Montreal and the Islanders, I should say, on Saturday night. We're running back every bet. First period over, full game over. Detroit plus 150, taking a shot with the underdog, little Detroit team total over, and a little on the draw here with the Red Wings and the Islanders as well. Of course, we hit everything but the money line with Montreal against the Islanders the other night. And I think this is a similar game. I keep saying I think the Islanders are going to be improved offensively this year, generate more offense. Now, one bit of concern here is one of the reasons I expected them to be better offensively was Anthony Duclair, and he's out, unfortunately. Long-term injury, too, leg injury, and it's not a short-term deal for him. So very, very unfortunate for the New York Islanders. That does hurt. It does open up the door, though, for some props and some value. Simon Holmstrom is tabbed as the guy to play with Horvat and Barzal on the top line tonight for the New York Islanders. So Simon Holmstrom has some really good value, in my opinion, tonight. Siplikov, we talked about him. He's still playing with Nelson and Palmieri. Those are 2 props I'm interested in for the Islanders here in the game tonight. We know Detroit's not a defense that we trust to shut you down night in and night out. They have had some good moments defensively. And look, a nice 5-2 win against Nashville. But I still don't view them as a phenomenal defensive team. This is also a team that gave up 9 goals in 2 games to the Rangers, gave up 6 goals in a home loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, like I said, I'm still not enamored with the blue line. I don't think 1 through 6, it's a great shutdown blue line. We know the goaltending is one night it can be good, one night it can be terrible with any of the goalies they have, whether it's Talbot, whether it's Husso, or whether it's Lyon. And it will be Alex Lyon tonight getting the start here for Detroit in this game. Ilya Sorokin in net for the New York Islanders. He's looked pretty solid. 1.48 goals against average, 953 save percentage in 2 starts so far against Colorado and St. Louis. I still need to see more, but so far so good for Sorokin so far for the Islanders. And more importantly, this is also buying into some series history with these overs. Last year, 3 meetings with the Islanders and the Red Wings, 4-3, 5-3, 6-3. All 3 games flew over the total with these 2 teams. And that was before, I believe, Lane Lambert got canned. Actually, one of those games was a Patrick Waugh game. I think the other 2 were before the coaching change happened. But either way, all 3 games with these teams went over the total last year. I like over by Fecta, Detroit plus 150, Detroit team total over, and the draw. And look, these draws with the New York Islanders, the Thailanders, we thought, hey, maybe new season, things would change. No, 3 of their 5 games this season have gone past regulation. Things have not changed. The draw is still very live for the New York Islanders. Alex, Red Wings Islanders.
Yeah, we might have to put the merch back up on the Ice Gas store if they keep this going. But I'm on the draw here as well, and I do like those overs, first period and full game. But we'll be looking to grab those at better prices and numbers. I think we can maybe get that 5.5 potentially with that full game over here in game. But like I said, they've been playing tight hockey. The Islanders, and like I said, in the Wings. If I had to play a side here, it would be Wings or nothing. Like I said, plus 150. I can feel like this is one of those spots where they're a feisty team on the road in these spots, in these dog spots. So if I do like that, I might jump in and grab that. But just to draw pregame and looking at those totals in game.
Yeah, no doubt. It's been Lucas Raymond has really had a tough start to the year. Hasn't scored yet. Vladimir Tarasenko is probably the one I'd be looking at for goal prop here with Detroit. And like I said, for the Islanders, most interested in Simon Holmstrom's your value. If you're looking for great value, you're looking for the situations that we really like. It's the player getting the spot, moving up the lineup. And in this case, Holmstrom taking Duclair's spot. And you can get upwards of plus 560 with Simon Holmstrom. So that's definitely the age-old angle that I like is the player that's getting that opportunity moving up the lineup. Matt, what do you think here? Detroit, New York Islanders.
Yeah, I like a lot of goals in this game as well. And so I think I'm going to take a shot with the same game parlay. First period over, total over at 5.5. Should be able to get right around a plus price. So that'll be my only pregame play, but this is another one that I like. If we're watching live, a couple minutes in, a couple minutes go by, some pace, but no goals, I might double down on the first period over and full game over for that matter, depending on how it plays out.
All right, good stuff. Next up, we've got as we continue along, let me just, I went a little out of order. My apologies. You know what it was? I entered the games in our studio here out of order a little bit. So Winnipeg, St. Louis was supposed to be next, but of course we've already done that one. So now we will go to Vancouver and Chicago. We've got the Vancouver Canucks minus 180 road favorites, 6 being the total here in this game. Canucks starting to gain some momentum. Obviously they had the rough start to the year, struggled coming out of the gate, but now they've won 2 in a row on this road trip against Florida and Philly, and really outside of the first period against Tampa Bay. I would say they played pretty good hockey in 8 of the 9 periods they've played the first 3 games of this road trip. So definitely Rick Tocchet's team coming around. They have absolutely dominated this Chicago team. 7 straight victories for the Vancouver Canucks over the Chicago Blackhawks. This is a game, too, where pregame I don't have much. Side or total. Chicago's a weird team. There's no consistency with although they've kind of been more plodding than I expected. I thought this team was going to bust out offensively this year. Really hasn't happened to any sort of frequency so far. So they're not a team I'm rushing to bet overs with, especially when we've seen the last 3 games all go under the total. But with the Blackhawks against Calgary, San Jose, and Buffalo. Buffalo barely stayed on. Actually, it was a push because it was 6, that total on Saturday. But just haven't been firing on all cylinders yet at the offensive end of the ice. It looks like it'll be Peter Mrazek for Chicago. Kevin Lankinen in net tonight for the Vancouver Canucks. JT Miller, obviously one of the heartbeats of this Canucks team. Game time decision for this game tonight. So he may not go. We're going to have to wait and see. But Rick Tocchet said they will determine that right before the game starts. This is one of those games where maybe if Chicago gets the lead, I maybe look at a live bet on Vancouver during the betcast. That is kind of my approach here in this game. If I have one, that's probably it. But for me, not a whole lot. I'm going to see how this game starts out during the betcast tonight. Pre-game pass for me. Alex, what do you think here? Vancouver, Chicago.
Yeah, well, you nailed it. The Hawks team, they have been weird. They have been kind of inconsistent, especially on offense. But the defense has been solid. They've gotten good goaltending from both Mrazek and Soderblom. Yes, I'm actually saying that. Arvid Soderblom's been playing some decent hockey. He just hasn't been able to get the results in the win column. But Peter Mrazek has. So I'm taking a shot here with the Hawks plus 150. I think this is a good spot here at home. Getting the backup in Lankinen. Now, Lankinen, former Hawk, he is 2-0 against them, but I don't think this is a big revenge spot kind of angle going with Lankinen. This is his 3rd team now. I like the Hawks here as a dog, and I also have players selected as a bargain bin prop that I'll be talking later on.
All right, there you go. Bargain bin coming from this game. Matt, what do you like here? Canucks, Blackhawks.
Yeah, I go back and forth. I do like the first period over in this game. Um, I'm hoping to see a couple quick ones. But I'm seeing it like minus 130. So it's probably going to be one that I no take and I don't take before, but I am ready to take, when puck drop happens, try and get it to even money or so. But yeah, I mean, from a sides perspective, I almost lean Chicago here, given the value. They had a big one at home last week. Um, I could see that happening again. Vancouver playing their backup. I, also see them rallying around him as well. So I don't know. I could go either way here on the sides. I lean Chicago just given the value. I don't want to lay minus 180 on Vancouver, given how they're playing. And you mentioned JT Miller is out. I think that's a big loss for them. So I almost would take Chicago in this spot, and obviously some decent value to take it pregame. So might be worth a look, but I'll probably stay off this game until we're on the betcast.
Yeah, it is. It's 0-7 again for Chicago, the last 7 meetings against Vancouver. But, we'll see. I mean, the Miller would be a big loss for Vancouver if he doesn't play. Third game or fourth game now of this road trip for the Vancouver Canucks. It'll be interesting. And certainly Chicago will be looking for a little bit more of a step-up performance after the way it went for them against the Buffalo Sabres. Again, that power play, they got to keep working at it. There's no question about that. All right, next up, we've got Colorado and Seattle. The Avalanche minus 120 road favorites, 6 being the total here in this game. Colorado, a little bit of a sigh of relief they can breathe that they've won the last 2 games after the 0-4 start. They rallied to beat, well, they're not rallied. They had the lead and then coughed it up late, and then they got it back in overtime with McKinnon's terrific goal to beat the Anaheim Ducks 4-3. Then they go on the road. They beat the San Jose Sharks 4-1. So some nice positive momentum for this Avalanche team for sure, being able to string 2 wins together. Still, though, without, multiple key cogs with the usual suspects, Lehkonen, Drouin, Nichushkin, still out for this team. Ross Colton, man, you got to ride the hot hand with him as far as any goal props because Ross Colton has been really heating up with McKinnon and Rantanen. It was took some time, but 6 goals, 5 in the last 3 games from him, 2 goal nights from him in each of the last 2 games against the Ducks and the Sharks. So he's clearly someone you've got to consider here for goal prop tonight. Finding that chemistry right now with McKinnon and Rantanen on the top line. You can get upwards of plus 270. Still pretty good price considering how he's been scoring the last 3 and the opportunity he's got playing on the top line. O'Connor, Middlestat, Kovalenko remains on the second line for Colorado. Devon Taves is still out, but I'll say this, Sam Girard has stepped up. And actually, Makar and Girard as a pair for Colorado since Taves' absence has played pretty well. We'll see if that continues here tonight in this game. Meanwhile, we look at the Seattle Kraken, and I like what I see from them so far. I mean, obviously, they should have beat St. Louis that first game. They had the 2-0 lead, and St. Louis battled back and won. They beat Minnesota. They had the 2-0 shutout loss to Dallas. No shame in that. And now they've won 3 in a row since Nashville, Philadelphia, and Calgary. Playing good hockey. Their offense is definitely improved. They're generating more chances. There's definitely been more finish, too. For the Seattle Kraken. A lot of times last year, even when they got the chances, they weren't getting as many, and then they weren't scoring. This year, they're getting more chances, and I think we're seeing a little bit more propensity to bury those chances so far from the Kraken. It's not just all on Jared McCann anymore. Eberle's been good. Shane Wright's chipping in. You're getting Tolvanen step up. Bjorkstrand and Stevenson are capable. Brandon Montour has helped this team mobility-wise and moving the puck from the back end as well. So there's a lot to like here with this Seattle group playing at home. I got to admit, Colorado is a road favorite because, they won 2 in a row and they were Anaheim and it was still, I think, a team on the rise, but they're still building. And then, of course, you've got the other win against San Jose, who's still one of the worst teams in the NHL. This is a test now for Colorado. You're playing someone pretty good again. See if you get the job done. I like Seattle here at this price, honestly, plus 100. I think they're worth a bet in this price range. Let's see Colorado against a team that's going to challenge them more than either the Ducks or the Sharks did. See if they can win one of those games. Grubauer expected in net. Georgiev expected for Colorado, although it's not confirmed. Justus Onanen was pretty solid in the win against San Jose, getting his first start, but it's looking like Georgiev was going to get the opportunity here. And I don't know, you're still got key cogs out. The wins were Anaheim and San Jose, nothing to write home about, and you're going to put them out there as a road favorite. I'm not so sure I'm ready to trust them in this price range, and especially if Georgiev's confirmed as the starter. So I like Seattle here, plus 100, and I would probably look towards some kind of over bifecta here as well. Seattle only scored 2 goals against Cal. It was kind of a game where there were chances, but there just wasn't much going on as far as the finish around the net. That could change here in this game, I think, with the Avs and the Kraken. And I know finally we had an under with San Jose and Colorado, but every other Colorado game's gone over for the full game. And still, every first period over for Colorado has cashed this year. Remember, that San Jose game, the first period did go over. Only the full game stayed under. But still, that's perfect. What is it now? 6-0 for the first period over this year in Colorado games. Alex, what do you think here? Avs, Kraken.
Yeah, this is an interesting game, and I do lean Seattle money line, but I feel like I could wait and grab a better price in game. I think I could see Colorado. Wouldn't shock me one bit if they take an early 1-0 lead, and we can get the Kraken at a much higher price than just even money. We're just trying to kind of looking back, we've seen this series really kind of gone to the under 4-12 when you include even their playoff series meetings. So 12 unders out of the last 16 meetings between these two teams. So I'm a little bullish on looking at totals pregame. Like I said, this is definitely one where I want to see pace of play develop and then make a judgment from there, be it under or over during the live betcast tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Matt, what do you think here? Avs, Kraken.
Yeah, so I also lean Seattle, especially if Georgiev plays. I looked Seattle over team total over 2.5 is minus 170. There's not a lot of value there. I was kind of going back and forth. I think this is the same game parlay move. First period over, game over 5.5. It's plus 120 on MGM. I think if Seattle's going to win this game, I don't think they're going to shut out the Avalanche. And I do think they're going to score, at least 3 goals, and we just need to get to that 6 mark. So I think it's a good play on this one. I think there will be goals. I lean Seattle. I can't trust Colorado yet, but I do think, even if Colorado continues to struggle, they generally are able to score a couple goals. So I don't think that over is a long shot. Yeah, so that'll be my play. And then I do agree with Alex. I think live, let's say Colorado scores in the first 5 minutes, you may be able to grab the Kraken either to win the game money line or in regulation. If you think they come back in regulation, you might get a really nice price. But yeah, we can kind of play out how that game is going, after puck drop. But pregame, I will do that same game parlay. First period over, game over 5.5 plus 120.
All right, there's the Matt Robinson special. That's what we're going to call it, the Matty special. Over 1.5 first period, over 5.5 full game, same game parlay. He's been going with that in several instances this year, and he's been doing okay with it, I believe. All right, next up, Boston, Nashville. We've got Nashville minus 135, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. Wow. The longer this goes, the more, anxiety, I believe, the team and maybe the fan base is going to feel. But who saw Nashville starting 0-5? Who saw Steven Stamkos not having a single point, to this point? Actually, finally scored, I should say, in the Detroit game. That was his first goal of the year on the power play. But, there's a lot of those peripheral stats that actually look very strong for Nashville. And they're not as bad as this 0-5 start would lead you to believe. Like, they're out shooting teams. They're out chancing teams. They've had a lot of puck possession. It seems like everything the other team's getting, though, is going in the net. And they need a little bit better out of their goaltending right now. And UC Saros hasn't had the best start to his season right now for the Nashville Predators. That being said, I feel they're on the verge of getting a win. This could be it. Boston's inconsistent as can be right now. They haven't had an awesome start to the year. They're 3-3. They had the wins against Montreal, LA, and Colorado on the road. 2 losses to Florida, and then the overtime loss to the Utah Hockey Club 2-1. What a sight it was to see Jim Montgomery absolutely rip the fucking tar out of Brad Marchand on the bench for a brutal turnover in that game, which led to one of the Utah goals. And that's not something you see all the time from Jim Montgomery, especially when you're talking about the captain of your team. And there he is going right at him for that. I think Marchand actually, because of that, is a good goal prop tonight. He's the kind of guy he's going to want to respond in a positive way to that. He knows that's a turnover that I can't make that. I'm the captain. I can't be that terrible with my puck management. So Brad Marchand offensively at plus 310, 300, 310 at some spots for a goal prop. I think that could be something you consider here in this game. I'm definitely interested in Nashville, but in no way, shape, or form do I want them minus 135 pregame. I'm going to wait for maybe a plus price at some point during the betcast tonight. If I find it, I will get in on Nashville because I think they're better than their record indicates. They've carried the play more in these games than you would think for an 0-5 team. They outshot and outchanced Detroit, both of those games that they lost. They took it to Dallas even when they lost 4-3 in terms of shots and chances, and so they've outplayed the opponent and not had the win to show for it yet. So I'm interested in Nashville here, and I don't trust Boston right now, but like I said, I don't want minus 135. This is a perfect betcast situation. See if we can get a better live price in game with the Predators here tonight in this one. Alex, what do you think here? Bruins, Predators.
Yeah, this is the game where I have half pregame on the first period over, 1.5 minus 120, and I'll add a little bit more as the game starts and we cross into plus money territory. But yeah, Nashville's got to get things rolling offensively, and especially at home. And I think this could be a good game. This could be a good opponent for it. I definitely think we see some back and forth offense throughout this game. So I'll also be looking for a full game over in there as well. But Nashville can't lay 135 with them at home in this form. And like I said, Boston's one of those teams that can always scrappy and get a goal early. So it may be an opportunity for us to grab Nashville at a plus price if we're seeing the pace we like during the backcast.
Not another thing I saw too. I don't want minus 135. Another reason: 6-1 for Boston in the last 7 meetings against Nashville. They've played Nashville pretty well. Yeah, give me a plus price. I'm interested. Minus 135, not interested at this number with the Predators here. Matt, what do you think here? Boston, Nashville.
I think there's going to be some goals. I think both teams are coming into this game a little bit fired up. I mean, obviously Nashville is, they're not going to go 0-82, but at this point in the season, you wonder when it's going to happen. And I know, last year obviously they were struggling at points in the year, and then they, went on a glory run to get into the playoffs. So, I mean, it's not if, it's when. Will it be tonight? I don't know. I'm not going to lay minus 135, but I do think there's going to be goals here. I'm undecided if I'm just going to jump on the first period over or if I'm going to do that same game parlay. But I'm going to do one of those on this game because I do feel like there's a good shot that both the first period and an over 5.5 would hit. So, but yeah, I think both these teams are hungry coming into this game. Tuesday night in Nashville on Broadway Street, always a good time in that city. So, hopefully we get some good goals.
All right, Carolina and Edmonton, one of the better games for sure of this Tuesday night Frozen Frenzy slate. Edmonton minus 130, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game, Hurricanes and Oilers. Edmonton, boy, they're definitely turning things around. The Dallas game, that could have been 2-0, 3-0 Edmonton after the first period against Dallas. 11-2 were the shots, but just didn't have anything to show for their chances and the controlling of the play, the offensive zone time. And then Dallas got going, and they capitalized more on their chances. They end up with the 4-1 win for Dallas over this Edmonton team, snapping their mini 2-game win streak over Nashville and Philadelphia. So they'll look to respond here. Carolina, big 4-1 win against Pittsburgh, but tough spot with St. Louis on the back-to-back, and it ended up being a 4-3 win for the St. Louis Blues. Stuart Skinner confirmed in net here for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. We're expecting Frederik Andersen for the Carolina Hurricanes, but it is not quite yet confirmed whether we're going to see him in between the pipes. Look, you got an Edmonton team that is off a loss, but what went wrong for them? They did a lot of things. They didn't give Dallas a ton. Played a pretty solid team defense game, but they didn't have anything offensively, Edmonton, in that game. So I think back home, they're going to look to crank things up here. And you look at this Carolina team, we know they're capable of scoring. They have scored 3+ goals in 4 of their last 5 games. 3+ goals in 3 straight games heading into this one. Series history, it's actually been very strong as far as goals are concerned. The 2 meetings a couple of years ago, 6-4 and 7-2, and then last year 6-3 and 6-1 were the final scores between the Oilers and the Hurricanes. So you've got a situation here where Edmonton's off a game where they lost and they only got 1. Chances are the focus is let's get back to getting some production going. So I like this. This is actually a trifecta for me tonight. Going to go with first period over, full game over, and the both teams to score in the first period because both of them are off a loss. So I think you got both of these teams coming into this game with the onus of let's get going, let's get back on track. Carolina is going to want to play well coming off the St. Louis loss. I think Edmonton, the same thing against Dallas. And Edmonton knows that other than Philly, that was a bad homestand for them to begin the year. I think that they're going to want to step things up here and show better on home ice tonight, starting tonight. And I think both of these teams off the loss will want to show something early. So I think the first period over and the both teams to score in the first period is good here, as well as the full game over 6 with Carolina Edmonton. Nothing for me on the side. I'd lean Oilers, and I'm certainly more interested in the Oilers side if Anderson's confirmed in net for Carolina, but I'm more interested in the over trifecta here. Alex, what do you think? Hurricanes, Oilers?
Yeah, this is one of 2 games where I have nothing circled, nothing played pre-game, so just be waiting to look for something in game. This won't be one that has a lot of screen view time on the slate tonight.
All right, what do you think here, Matt? Carolina, Edmonton.
Yeah, I lean over in this one, but I kind of agree. I mean, I'm interested in seeing how Edmonton plays after that game in Dallas. But I don't know. I think pregame I won't take anything. I think it'll be live looks. I'm seeing some over 6.5, obviously some over 6s out there, but I think, if there's a slower start to this game and we get it down to 5.5, it might be worth a look. But nothing for me pregame on this one.
All right, next up, and by the way, for props, there are a couple I think that I was interested in. Let me see. Edmonton here tonight. I think it was Nugent Hopkins and Jeff Skinner for Edmonton that I was interested in. Remember, Jeff Skinner against one of his old teams, too, the Carolina Hurricanes, which is where he started his career. And then for the Canes, Roslovic on the second line. I think he scored either the last game or the game before that. I think there's definitely some value with his prop tonight. Again, that top 6 role, and he's been pretty solid in that role now with a bunch of different teams as well. All right, next up, we've got Ottawa. And Shane Gostisbehere, Rich, you're right. Shane Gostisbehere's been shooting the puck a lot, starting to find the back of the net. He's got 3 goals on the season, goals in 3 straight games. Absolutely. No argument there with looking at Shane Gostisbehere as far as a goal prop tonight. Ottawa, Utah. We've got the Utah Hockey Club minus 115 home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Comeback win for Utah against Boston, 2-1 in overtime. The Delta Center Magic, they've got it going here already, this Utah squad. Now 2-0 at home this season with the wins against Chicago and Boston. 4-1-1 overall so far this year. Still have only lost once in regulation time. We'll see how this one fares with the Ottawa Senators. I lean Utah here, definitely. I mean, I can't back Ottawa with Forsberg. Now, I know they beat Tampa Bay and Forsberg was in net, but they got a lot of offense going against the Lightning. It's not like Forsberg put on a goaltending clinic and shut down the Lightning. He's still not someone I have the most trust and faith in. 4.17 goals against, .863 save percentage for Forsberg. Not very good at all. There's also some injuries for Ottawa when you look at it. David Perron's day-to-day. Ridley Gregg's still out day-to-day. Of course, Allmark is still unavailable. Artem Zub on the blue line. So there are still some key absences for Ottawa. Connor Ingram getting the start in net here tonight for the Utah Hockey Club. Not a surprise. This I like first period over. This I like the over trifecta in as well in this game. First period over, full game over, both teams to score first period. And I like Utah, but I'm not going to take them at minus 115. I'm going to look for maybe, because they're off the overtime win, maybe a sluggish start, and Ottawa starting a road trip here tonight. Sometimes there's good focus early in the game. I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, Ottawa does indeed get the first goal tonight. And if that's the case, we're going to get a plus price with Utah live during the betcast tonight. And at that point, that is definitely when I'll be interested in you. I lean Utah right now, but I'm going to take my chance. I can get a better price with Utah during the betcast tonight. What do you think here in this one, Matt? We'll start with you on this one. Senators, Utah.
Yeah, I'm still kind of on the train of Utah first period overs. They're an exciting team to watch. I do enjoy watching those games. Um, it may be just given that it's a over 6.5, it may be a live look tonight. But this is one I definitely am excited for, and I definitely think there will be goals. Probably a few props I'll take a look at in this one as well. But yeah, pregame, I'm looking overs. I think I'll probably wait and get something live once this game gets rolling tonight.
I like the draw too. I forgot to mention that. I mean, Utah is just one of those teams. You got to keep going with it right now. The Utah Draw Club. That is what they've also been so far this year. There's no doubt. I mean, 4 of their last 5 games have gone past regulation. So I'm tacking on the draw pregame with the over trifecta. Maybe at -115, I sprinkle some on Utah pregame, but I'm going to look for a bigger bet on Utah at a plus price during the betcast. What do you think here in this one, Alex? Ottawa, Utah.
Yeah, I laid $1.10 with Utah on the money line. Like I said, they've been hot at home, and I'm just going to keep riding that momentum. Even if it is Bamelka and net, which is that there's a mismatch going up against Olmark, but Olmark just coming back off of injury. We'll see how he's faring. So I like Utah on the spot here, and I probably will grab some at first period over with you guys in game later tonight.
Yeah, as far as props here for this one, Michael Amadio is slated to be moved up with Stützle and Tkachuk. Big time value with Michael. And Michael Amadio can score. And you put him with good players and good line mates and put him in a situation to get more minutes and score goals like he will tonight. He's worth a look. Plus 440 at Patano for Amadio. And again, for Ottawa, he might be up on that top line for them tonight in this game. And then on the Utah side, Dylan Guenther, obviously is always live potentially to score a goal for them. Jack McBain even has stepped up. Barrett Hayton, Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz, that's been a good line. I mean, take your pick when it comes to the Utah Hockey Club and who can chip in offensively. I would go to the defenseman, too, Michael Kesselring. He scored in back-to-back games for the Utah Hockey Club from the back end, including the overtime winner against Boston. So don't sleep on him either. Michael Kesselring here for the Utah Hockey Club. Back-to-back games with a goal from the blue line. So I think there's great value there. Jimmy Murphy in the chat. Look at that. Our old buddy. We hope to see you Friday, Jimmy, because we missed you last week. But Utah Puck Line, says Jimmy. Jimmy Puck Line there on the Utah Hockey Club for Jimmy. Good to see him in the chat. Jimmy, if you're around for the betcast tonight, I'll send you the link. You can drop in for a few minutes if you're able to. But love to have you join us for a few minutes as well on the betcast tonight. All right, Pittsburgh, Calgary. Calgary -120. Home favorite, 6.5 the total. This should be an interesting matchup here. Pittsburgh, a little bit of a gather the troops and figure shit out kind of deal with Sidney Crosby after the loss to Winnipeg, saying we just need to be better and more attention to detail. And that's true. I mean, you can't keep playing defensive hockey like this, Pittsburgh, and expect to win games. They have just been a nightmare, really, in the defensive zone. We'll see if they can sort of fix it here tonight. But, man, I mean, you look at these recent games. They've given up 5 to Buffalo, albeit they won because they scored 6, 4 to Carolina, and 6 to Winnipeg. It's been tough for this Pittsburgh Penguins team defensively. Now they're talking the talk. It's time to screw in and pay attention to detail defensively tonight against Calgary. We'll see if they heed those words. The only thing keeping me off the over in this game is because Pittsburgh's really trying to bear down tonight as far as playing good team defense. Will they is the question. But another reason why I'm not hopping at the over is because Calgary has turned into this great defensive group all of a sudden. This shocks me. I thought they'd be all offense, no defense. Well, they've been sporadic offense, but they've been pretty solid defensively, and that has surprised me. They've given up 2 goals or less in 3 straight games. They've got a guy in net who's very capable, of course. Glove saves like wine. He's hungry like the wolf. Dustin Wolf. Absolutely. He was solid the last time we saw him, I believe, against Chicago. He'll be back in net tonight for the Calgary Flames. The much thought of goalie of the future for the Calgary Flames, off to a decent start. 2.02 goals against, 944 save percentage. very good numbers, 2-0 record in his 2 starts. Pittsburgh can talk all they want about tightening up defensively. I think this price on Calgary, who still only lost the 1 game this year, and it was to Seattle over the weekend. It's Calgary or nothing for me at -120. I've got to see it before I believe it with this Pittsburgh. Oh, we're going to bear down defensively. Let's see it before I'm ready to buy into it. Alex, what do you think here? Penguins, Flames.
Yeah, I like the draw here in this. I grabbed that plus 380, and like I said, that's kind of predicated on, can Pittsburgh try to play some better defense? Like I said, Calgary's been a tighter defensive team, especially at home. You got the better goalie in net and Dustin Wolf. So I thought 380 was a little bit too high of a price for that, so I did grab the draw here. That's the only play I have as of now.
Yeah, we'll see. Actually, you know what? With Calgary trending under and Pittsburgh talking about, hey, we got to fix shit defensively, maybe this does go under, but not betting it, but I could see it. That's why I'm not on any overs in this game. I am interested a little bit in Calgary, though. What do you think here, Matt? Pittsburgh, Calgary.
Yeah, not a lot jumps out at me on sides and totals. Blake Coleman did get a goal, finally, first goal of the season on Saturday night.
Yep.
He's a streaky guy. There's times in his career where he'll have, 4 goals over the course of 2 games and then not score for 15 games. So I may ride a goal prop with him. I'm not seeing great value for a guy that only has 1 goal this season, though, so I may not even jump on that. This may just be an all-out pass game until the betcast.
All right, we're down to our last 2 games of this 16-game every team marathon here on this Frozen Frenzy Tuesday Ice Guys preview show. San Jose and Anaheim. Anaheim -160 home favorites, 6 the total, shaded to the under in this game. It feels like with these 2 teams, it would be, if Anaheim is -160 as they are here, I could only take San Jose at this price. If the roles were reversed and San Jose was laying a price in this range, it would be Anaheim for me. It's one of these deals where I don't feel comfortable with either of these teams in this kind of a price range. If San Jose was a -160 favorite, it would be a hell no. If with Anaheim being a -160 favorite, for me, it's also a hell no. Now, San Jose is still winless. They're looking for that first win under Ryan Warsofsky, 0-6 to begin the year. They did have a tough loss in the opener with St. Louis, but the thing that's San Jose without Celebrini, it's crazy how Celebrini already has missed dearly. And it's his first games in the NHL, and without him, the offense is existent. I mean, this San Jose team, since Celebrini's injury in the St. Louis opener, that's when they scored 4 goals, 0-2, 2, 3, and 1 in the game since then. The offense just has been nowhere to be found right now for the San Jose Sharks consistently, other than Eklund and Toffoli and Zetterlund here and there, but not getting much from anyone else. Dostal confirmed in net for Anaheim. They've got some injuries too, though. Ryan Strom's day-to-day, Lundstrom's day-to-day, Frank Vetrano also day-to-day, so we'll have to see if all of those guys are able to play and suit up tonight for the Anaheim Ducks, so they're a little bit banged up too going into this game. Series history with these teams, Ducks have controlled it. They've won 4 of the last 5 meetings. Obviously, you see why they're favored here, but pass for me. I mean, I'm not interested in laying -160 with Anaheim, but at this point with San Jose, until I see them win, not really going to back them in their offense, which has just been stuck really the last several games, really since that opener when Celebrini was lighting it up in the first period. They scored 4 goals, and they have had a tough time finding the back of the net since then. Alex, what do you think here? San Jose, Anaheim.
Yeah, you can't bet every game on the board. This is an absolute pass for me. I won't even have anything in game on this.
And Dostal's been in good form. I agree. Dostal's had a nice start to the year.
Yeah,
what do you think here, Matt? San Jose, Anaheim.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the same page as Alex. I mean, I could see, California battle, maybe a little bit of a track meet, some goals happening, but I don't know. We'll see where we're at in the night, but currently I don't have anything on this. I lean Anaheim. You could make a case for San Jose. I don't know. I just don't have a feel for this one.
It's just, this is, Class C or Class D versus Class D teams, and you're talking about one of them being -160, and it's just either of these teams in a price range like that, I wouldn't trust them. No doubt about that. But like I said, I do like Troy Terry and Fabry for goal props for Anaheim. If I'm going to look at San Jose, don't bet anyone but Eklund, Toffoli, and Zetterlund. Eklund, Toffoli, and Zetterlund is essentially their offense right now. There's no question. So, like I said, those would be the goal props I'd be looking at. And we will wrap up the night on the BetCast tonight with this game, which is the late game, and it is real late. It's an 11 p.m. Eastern puck drop for ESPN, the third and final game of their triple header tonight. The Los Angeles Kings taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. We've got Vegas minus 125 home favorites, 5.5 being the total here in this game. Vegas back home, and they're thankful to be back home because here we go again with this Golden Knights team and the problems on the road, which they had plenty of last year. And sure enough, on that road trip, they lose all 3 games against Washington, Tampa Bay, and Florida. Disappointing. They had the lead against Florida. The final game of that road trip, couldn't hold it, couldn't close, and they end up losing that game by a score of 4-3 in overtime. But now they're back home where they're perfect 3-0. So it wouldn't shock me to see them bounce back. I lean to the Golden Knights here, minus 125, but I'm going to take a chance I can get a better price live during the game. This is not a great spot, really, though, for either team. You got Vegas coming off the road trip. LA is ending this marathon road trip tonight. They finally go home to play San Jose Thursday night. This will be the 8th and final game of this very long road trip for the LA Kings. So this ain't a Kings spot either, by any stretch of the imagination. So by default, I lean Vegas. They've been good. They're still, I think, a little better than LA, and they've been good at home. Being back at the Fortress, as they call it, T-Mobile Arena, should help them. But it's still coming off a road trip for them. It's not a great spot, but I still lean Vegas. I will probably sprinkle Vegas pregame and look for something at a plus price live during our BetCast tonight. And with that probably being the only game, at that time of night, keep the door open for some live bets to keep the BetCast flowing into the late night hours tonight. Keep it interesting. So maybe I dabble in Vegas pregame, but keeping more of the getting involved more and investing more in the Golden Knights to the live BetCast and hoping we can get a plus price at some point. Alex, what do you think here? Kings, Golden Knights.
Yeah, it's a steep price for a team coming home off a road trip, but I'm definitely laying the 125 with Vegas. Kings have been gone from LA for 19 days, actually 20 days, because they had days of camp, and then they had the 2 preseason games in Quebec City. They stayed in Quebec, and then they end up traveling and having the East Coast swing. I feel like Anaheim was kind of that, finish up. All right, we got to win here to kind of wrap things up now. I think they just run out of gas here. So this is definitely one where they said you can grab a little now and wait to grab a little later. Maybe the Kings get on the board first, which would be nice. Then we can really hop on and pile on with some Vegas, because usually with these spots, we see those teams kind of fade late. So maybe they have their legs under them in the first period, but not so much for the later 40 minutes.
This is a brutal spot for it's actually worse for LA, because for Vegas, it was a 3-game trip. And the 3 games were Washington, Tampa, Florida. There were not a ton of travel. Look at this LA experience. You mentioned it, almost 20 days since they've been home. Edmonton in Western Canada, all the way to Buffalo, to Boston, north of the border to Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, all the way back to the West Coast to Anaheim, down to Vegas now. That is a shit ton of travel. And they're off a couple of wins now. So, you could see them just, I don't expect Kings A game tonight. It's a question of can Vegas pounce on it. What do you think here, Matt? LA, Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't trust Vegas. I do agree with everything you're saying about the Kings getting there, coming in with a win streak. This probably won't be their best game. I go back and forth on the sides. I do think there's gonna be a couple goals in this game. I like the first period over for sure. Game total over at 5.5. I like that as well. So I might do a same game parlay here. And I think you got to take a look at Alex Laferriere props. He's looked good lately.
I've been waiting for him to get going. He finally scored the last game. Yep.
Yeah. So, he's getting a lot of opportunity. Some injuries there in LA. He's a guy they hope to kind of keep in that core group of young guys coming up. So, I don't know. I think teams do come into Vegas. There's a little extra energy. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it'll be an exciting game to watch to kind of end the night. So I'm just hoping for some goals. So I'll do that same game parlay.
Yeah, the couple of goal props I like too for the Vegas side are close shave Barbashev. Of course, we got to keep going with him. He's been great with Eichel and Stone on that top line. Brett Howden's up on the second line with Hurdle and Dorofeyev, and I think Howden and Dorofeyev are both worth a look for props there for Vegas tonight. For LA, I'm with you on Laferriere. He'd be worth. I still think Byfield's worth a look. with Kopitar and Kempe. We'll see how that goes. No question. But like I said, for the Kings are probably a bet against tonight, in my opinion. But they're probably also I wish they were playing someone other than San Jose. But I still might hold my nose and take a shot with the Sharks Thursday night against LA, that first home game back from the long 18, 19-day road trip. And if they lose tonight to Anaheim and they're 0-5-2, they'll be really hungry to get that first win, and maybe they really catch LA flat-footed at home. So we'll have to wait and see. I just wish they were facing someone a little bit better than San Jose in that bet against spot, that first home game for LA coming up on Thursday night. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Make sure you sign up at patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, bonus content, live betcast exclusives later in the season as well. And, of course, the daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day from all of us. Patreon.com/iceguys, and your subscription and registration as a member helps keep the show going. Patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of signups this week. We really appreciate that. Really appreciate the support. Also, support the podcast by checking out the Ice Guys store. Today is the last day to save 20% off on everything in the store right now at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We've got just about everything in stock right now, all the caps and hoodies and T-shirts, everything you want right there and available, 20% off. Done good now until midnight Eastern, and that's available at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, there you go. Check it out. The great merchandise over at the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. And once again, the live betcast a little over 3 hours from now, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. DM or email one of us for the link, and we will send it to you if you want to join us on the NHL Frozen Frenzy Ice Guys live betcast, our first of the season coming up tonight. All right, we'll wrap the show up in a moment with Bargain Bin Special of the night. And yes, I'm finally coming in off a winner. We're heating up, baby. I know it's only one, but you got to start somewhere. Bargain Bin Special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Manscaped, Power Play Sportsbook, Raise Your Game, Tailgater Sofa. And a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right, good stuff. Make sure you check out all our sponsors, including, of course, our daily sponsor, Boston Hemp Inc., 20% off all orders on the site with the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. Quickly before Bargain Bin, we're not on the show tomorrow, or we don't have a show tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday. There's only the one game, and it's a rematch of tonight. Philadelphia at Washington tomorrow night. Of course, they're in Philly. All I would say about that game is wait to see how this one plays out tonight and go from there. I would assume because it's a Charlie Lindgren matchup tonight, there's a chance we could see an Ivan Fedotov versus Logan Thompson matchup tomorrow night on a back-to-back. And if that's the matchup, I'm hoping Philly comes through for me tonight because I think it's a Philly spot tonight. If they win tonight, I'll be looking at Washington and or Washington team total over tomorrow night because the jury's out on Fedotov. Let's be real. The jury is definitely still out on that guy. I haven't been impressed with what I've seen so far. So I did want to throw out some kind of opinion on that game tomorrow since we won't be on. to me, if it's a Philly win tonight, I'm interested in the Caps and or Caps team total over tomorrow night. Alex, what would be your approach, if any, for tomorrow?
Yeah, probably more toward team total because like I said, I saw 150 posted at FanDuel when looking at that. So like I said, if it is that matchup, we're gonna see some higher juice. Not really crazy about regulation necessarily. So I would be leaning toward Caps team total if it is Thompson going against Fedotov.
Exactly, and we're high on Thompson. We think Thompson's going to end up being having a nice season here for the Capitals. Matt, any opinion at all just for tomorrow, Philly, Washington?
I'll probably have to wait and see how tonight goes.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
It's I feel like that's always a good series between those two teams, but we'll see how tonight goes, and that'll reflect tomorrow a little more. I don't have any like good feelings about anything one way or the other, or any totals or anything like that.
Another thing to factor in too is if Philly wins tonight, as I'm hoping, I don't believe Washington's lost 2 in a row yet this year too. So then you'd be in a spot where you got the team that hasn't dropped 2 in a row yet, looking to bounce back tomorrow night in that game. So that is definitely something to be mindful of for sure. All right, let's get to it. I'm feeling good finally. Off a winner with the bargain bin special of the night. Long overdue. Thank you, Max Pacioretty, for coming through last night. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like in the bargain bin?
Yeah, we're gonna head to the west side of Chicago tonight, Vancouver and the Hawks. And I'm taking a shot here with Andreas Anastasiou, plus 575 anytime goal. Now, this guy's been mostly a cardio type of player, right? You look, he's only got 5 shots on goal so far this season, but playing on that second line, getting some top 6 minutes now, I think he has the chance to break through and get a goal tonight. So, Anastasiou plus 575 available at FanDuel anytime goal. That's my bargain special for this Frozen Frenzy Tuesday.
All right, there you go. A little Greek stallion for the Chicago Blackhawks. Andreas Athanasiou for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. Matt Robinson, what do you like here? Bargain bin special.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to have to go with Steph. I did weigh some other options. I took a look at Josh Stone. He's in bargain bin category, but we've got the frenzy, we've got the betcast. I can't go away from what's working. I'm going to take Stephen Nason anytime goal prop tonight for the New Jersey Devils.
The man from Plano, Texas, right in the neck of the woods of Matt Robinson himself, right there.
If you're feeling if I'm feeling really fancy, I may do a little parlay of Steph and Blake Coleman to both score. A little Plano, Texas connection on this frenzy.
The Plano parlay right there.
Yeah, I'm not taking it as a bargain bin, but that might be worth a look to throw $1 or $2 on just to, you never know. So
maybe not. Yeah,
he does actually seem to score. When Nason plays on the same night that Matt's on the show, he scored a lot. I don't know about every night, but it seems like it's happened quite a bit. So Stephen Nason, New Jersey Devils for Matt Robinson with his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special for tonight, I'm going to go to the New York Islanders, and I'm going to go to Simon Holmstrom, who's going to get the Anthony Duclair spot with Matt Barzal and I'm blanking on who else is on that line now. And Bo Horvat on that top line. Simon Holmstrom stepping in for the injured Anthony Duclair on the top line, plus 560 for Simon Holmstrom to find the back of the net tonight. So Simon Holmstrom, New York Islanders, plus 560 for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets for this Frozen Frenzy massive Tuesday slate with all 32 teams in action. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
There were 102 goals scored on Frozen Frenzy night last year. We're hoping for 2 of them early in the very first game. Washington, Philadelphia, first period over 1.5, minus $1.20. That is my best bet here for this Tuesday night.
All right, Caps Flyers over 1.5, minus 120, first period for Alex B. Smith with his best bet. Matt Robinson, what do you got? Best bet?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to stick with my boys in Dallas. This one, the last couple I've gone afar. Just give me Dallas money line tonight in Buffalo. That's gonna be my best bet.
All right, that's Dallas in that minus 145 range right now against the Buffalo Sabres. Best bet for Matt Robinson. My best bet here for this Thursday, man, there's a lot of good choices all around. I'm going to go with there's a little bunch that I'm thinking of. We can't mull around forever. I'm going to go with Red Wings Islanders over 6. Let's go with that. And I like all pieces of the over in that game, the trifecta, but let's go over 6, Detroit, New York Islanders. Again, all 3 meetings last year went over the total. Red Wings Islanders over 6 for my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL card. That's a wrap. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And we will be back with you in 3 hours, 6 p.m. Eastern, the start of the Marathon Ice Guys live betcast for the NHL Frozen Frenzy. We'll be with you all night. We cannot wait. Hope you join us. And again, DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the betcast, and we'll send you the link before it begins, 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. And one more reminder, no Ice Guys show tomorrow. We are off tomorrow. We are back on Thursday at our regular time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and Matt will be in the house once again as well. So Thursday, we are back for another edition of the Ice Guys. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Well, that makes it sound like you're not joining us, but join us for the betcast. Have a great Tuesday night and be part of the Ice Guys live betcast tonight, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Enjoy the games, enjoy the NHL Frozen Frenzy, and good luck. And we will see you in a few hours for the Ice Guys live betcast right here. See you soon.